Viewer, this is Yelling Team Operator Dubs here to you today with a little bit of Anthem. If you haven't heard of the game before, this is a product of EA and BioWare all the way back in 2019. Had a rough childhood, didn't launch very well, a lot of server issues, all sorts of other things that really kept it from getting anywhere. People will complain that there's not a lot of content and everything else, but just look at this magnificence. What do you mean there's no content? What I have for you today is the elephant in the room, the tank class in Anthem, what I call the Chungus Among Us. This is the Colossus javelin. The idea is that he's big, he's bad, he's proud, and he's not afraid to bop you in the face with the massive shield that he keeps on his right arm. For the weapons that I'm using, I don't actually use the weapons all that much in this particular build, but I have them because the inscriptions, the gray text that you see at the bottom right-hand side, are particularly useful for my javelin, along with the insult and injury here. You get 100% armor max, some gear recharge, all of that's very, very useful to me. You'll notice that the golden text underneath is particularly helpful as well with the insult and injury. Defeating an enemy clears harmful status effects and then boosts that effect resistance by 75%. Remember that because clearing harmful status effects will be useful later. Last stand, when all of my armor goes down, then I get increased weapon damage as well. There's some specific times where this could be potentially useful, but for the most part, I have it for the shield max and for the gear damage inscriptions that you see below. Here is the crowning jewel of this particular build. The Meteor Smash is, you see a small circle within another circle over by the word Meteor Smash. That means that it is a priming ability. So in Anthem, the way that you will fight is by priming your enemies with an elemental damage type and then detonating them in some other capacity. So you'll also notice here in the inscriptions we have a lot of armor and some repair drop rate. Helps to keep me alive. All those things we appreciate. If we take a look at the heavy assault launcher, we have again and again. You see something that looks like a 4-pointed star next to those words. That's a detonating ability. So I prime them with the melee and then detonate with my again and again. You'll notice here that it says that it detonates a second explosion briefly after. So if I prime them, I can detonate with the first explosion, quickly reprime in time for the second explosion to detonate again. Very, very effective. You could push out something close to 130 or 150 damage, or 150,000 damage, excuse me. 130 to 150,000 damage in about 3 seconds if you time everything well. Very, very effective at moving through enemies. Really makes the Chungus shine. You'll see that most people who play Anthem online, especially in like old build videos and everything else, have a tendency to use what's called the Best defense instead. For obvious reasons, it restores your armor by 35%. Not necessary in this build. The potential to put out 150,000 combo damage within just a few seconds far, far outstrips the usefulness of getting healing from this ability. If we move over to the Ordnance Launcher, here is how I'm able to prime and detonate so quickly. So, Voltaic Dome shocks and freezes enemies within a very small radius around me. You'll notice also gives me a little more grenade launcher damage in the event that I do need to pull that out. This ability, fire off your Voltaic Dome, freeze and shock the people around you, blast them with the again and again, quickly melee, and then the second explosion of the again and again. Again, it gets about 150,000 combo damage out in a very short amount of time. For the support gear, I prefer to use the Berserker's Cry. This particular one, because of the 54% increased combo blast damage. Again, just really racks up the amount of exponential combo damage you're able to deal with this particular javelin. It's also useful that it reduces enemy resistances, makes them a little bit less tanky. On the hardest difficulty setting, they're quite tanky. So that's always helpful if I get somebody who is an armored unit, somebody with a yellow health bar. For my components, I prioritize the sorts of components that are going to give my character survivability and really focused around the melee aspect of what this character is able to do. So we'll start with Demolition Tribute. As I sprint, my shield that I can put out in front of me and just bowl over the top of people gets a 300% damage increase. And then every time I defeat somebody while doing this, I get a fifth of my armor back, which is pretty nice. A particularly helpful inscription here is the ultimate speed. That means that every time I detonate a combo, I get more of my ultimate back. Very, very useful. You primarily gain your ultimate back over time and by detonating combos. So this is a particular build that pulls up your ultimate often. Really increases survivability, massively increases your damage output, not dependent upon a weapon or ammo reserves or anything like that. Just good old-fashioned bopping with the Chungus. Very, very effective. If we look at Bloodlust, just a straight-up survivability increase. It gives me a lot of melee damage. That's always super helpful. But your melee, if we go back to it, it gives me 105% increased damage, so I do 15,000 damage with my melee. In the grand scheme of things in Anthem, that's really not that much damage. It's helpful, for sure, but it's not that much damage. So why pull Bloodlust? Specifically, 95% armor max, 75% shield max. Gives me that survivability. Emergency Power increases my Javelin's ultimate damage, and this is a melee ultimate build. Super helpful. Most importantly, anytime I become critically damaged, I get my ultimate meter completely refilled. Tangling with somebody who's a long distance away from me, I don't really have particularly good abilities or weapons to deal with that. He knocks me down to critical levels of health. I whip out my ultimate, blast the problem away. Mini nuke solves all problems, and we're good to go. Ablative Shielding, just a lot of health, a lot of shield. Gives me some damage resistance if the shield ever breaks. Looking at Shock Treatment, this is going to increase the Ordnance Launcher damage by a little bit. Not super helpful. My Ordnance Launcher is a primer. It doesn't really do much damage. However, as I take damage, I increase damage. That's super helpful. It gives me an 80%, pretty much near constant damage buff. And then that ultimate speed as well just gives me my ultimate back a little bit faster. Symbiotic Surge, I love me some combo blast damage. Just increases my exponential damage even more. And then as I pick up repair packs, which I should be able to do often, I will do a little bit more damage. Again, all of very, very damage-focused build based on getting damage resistance and my ultimate back quickly in order to survive. I have a lot of tank stats, a lot of armor, a lot of shield across my inscriptions. Should be a very deadly Chungus. Additionally, once you get to level 30, you will have access to all 3 slots of your sigils. I'm running the Armor Sigil, Combo Sigil, Ultimate Sigil. Essentially what these do is these are just even more buffs to that particular aspect. So in this case, 30% more base armor, 10% physical resistance, gives me 30% more exponential combo damage, and of course, 30% more ultimate damage. The Heart of Rage is the final boss battle of the game. Should be a nice combination of long distance and short distance enemies. We see nearly all of the most difficult types of units in this particular stronghold. Should be a fantastic way of showing off the strengths and the weaknesses of this particular build. Weaknesses being mostly that if you're encountering something that's a long distance away from you and it deals a heavy amount of damage, if it's a type of unit like a turret that tracks you really well, the Chungus does not really do all that great of a job of dodging enemy fire. It just is expected that you're able to survive through it. So if your ultimate is down and there's nobody close by that you can combo, if somehow all of your abilities are on cooldown, you can be in a genuine amount of trouble with this build. It's very, very dependent upon your ability to combo your enemies and to keep up a steady stream of death and destruction. If you don't, this really does fall off, 100%. But Anthem is the classic looter shooter. There are lots of bad guys around. Shouldn't have a lot of trouble sorting out the different things that we can bop and boop and keep that ultimate meter up and just really spreading carnage and destruction. Easily one of my favorite javelins in this particular game. Will say that my favorite, absolute favorite, the one that I ran with the most, the one that if I'm hopping on the Anthem and I just want to relax and have a good time, I do typically choose the Ranger. Very much enjoy the Ranger. It's got those big satisfying combo numbers that you know and love. But the Chungus, this is what I play if I've got friends online who are playing Anthem. If we just want to be goofy, we want to have a good time. Just the idea that I can fly in and I can berserker cry, get everybody focused on me, everybody's attention on me, everybody's resistance is lowered a little bit, and then just smack them all over the place with my again and again, with the voltaic dome, with the meteor smash. It's very entertaining. Once we get into the mission, I'll show you the sort of combo loop that we go through. Here we go.
This is everything we've been working towards.
Yeah.
Here's the shield. Again, you can fly with it, you can sprint with it, all those things. And of course, like I said, long distance enemies, we really don't have a super great way to handle them. Just to show. Weapon damage in this game is not really anything to brag about, especially for this particular build. However, if they are kind enough to sit still, we can always give them one of those. Here, though, is where my character will shine. Nearly all of his health from a single hit with my shield. And you'll notice that through all of that, even though I was taking some pretty hefty hits from those wyverns, hardly any damage has been done to my javelin so far.
Turrets.
No time for that. Our goal is the monitor.
Shock. Again and again.
Obviously not.
And there's the whole run through. Shock. Again and again. Fire. And smack him with the shield. Next one. Shock. Again and again. Fire. Boop. Shock. Again and again. Fire. Hit it again. Shock. Boom. Good to go. Clear out some of the trash here. Again and again. Bop. And they're down. The ultimate is a mini nuke. Very satisfying. Enjoy this greatly every time we get to use it. A solid 1 million damage, as one does. Nice little group of enemies here. Just shock them all, again and again. Drop the melee, boom, and bop it again. Very effective build. Clears out the trash. Very satisfying numbers. All the dopamine that you could ask for.
That's it.
Oh, and we even got a friend. Hey there, yeah. But as you see, essentially that's the sort of build we're working with today. Run in, shock them again and again, melee, blast them. If they're still primed, pull out the shield, bop them again, and you're good to go. Oh, there we go. Got myself turned around. No reason not to have it out.
That sounds foreboding.
Up ahead, we have the
Well, that guy's dead.
largest enemy in the game. These are the Ash Titans, the Fire Titans. You can see 91%, 91k damage with my combo there. Hardly scratched the surface. This, however, should really start to get the numbers flowing. There we go. Focus on me, drop his resistance. Start to shock him a little bit. Get juked. Ooh. Give him a bop. And there's that armor critical that we saw before. So here he's going to enter a sort of enraged state. And he should detonate on his own just in here in a moment. Just give him a look towards me. There we go. And sure enough there, things got a little bit spooky. Right, as one does, but you just back off. Let him go through his little hissy fit, and then you're back in the fight. As soon as we picked up one of those health packs, you saw we got about half of our health back. That again, though, is the weakness of this build. If you're down to just the single big baddie, you can be in a bit of trouble.
The anthem isn't for the weak.
Then
Go
why
through the
keep
cycle
doing
again, reset the fire, blast it again, set the fire, give it a bop, and good to go. Run them over, shock, blap, good to go. Set him on fire, combo. Just gonna pick him up now. Ooh, bye. Ooh, bye. Shock him again, keep him on the ground. Boop. Boop. And he's done. Flight disabled up ahead, not a problem. The Chungus does not need to be airborne to be a threat. Just gonna run him over. Just gonna run them over. Give him a little shock, give him a boop. Give him a shock, give him a boop. Give him another, and again.
I'm still here. Hey, you had me worried.
She's pushing herself to the limit.
And
Your
boop.
jav running.
I can do this.
Shock again, give him again.
No
And the
one
boop,
asked you.
and he's done. Here, of course, where we no longer shine, enemies far above us. We'll let our little wizards take care of that. All in all, very fun build. Right up in their faces, melee them, show them a good time, give them a shock, give them again and again, pull out the shield, give them the bop, cycle through all your abilities. Recharges fast enough through the inscriptions that I have that we're pretty much able to keep our abilities up nearly all the time. Nearly all the time. Again, when you do go and fight those big bosses, sometimes you will struggle with your abilities, but in those moments you should look to have your ultimate
The
up
minions gotta touch everything.
and then ready to just
Get in there and
start
fix their mess.
clearing house that way. This way. Give him the again. Bop. Again, anytime you're not sure where the bad guys are, pull out your shield. Just start running people over. Hello there. Give him it again. Bop. This feels like a good moment for the mini nuke. Any more? There we go. Done our civic duty for the day, cleared some trash. Let's just start knocking down that shield, shall we?
That's
There
it.
we go.
Just a few more echoes.
And we'll let the storms go and pick up all the echoes. Again, if you're not familiar with that particular mechanic, what we have here are some small glowing lights. Let's see, there's one. These are echoes. Pick them up, bring them over to the small pedestal.
That's it. Just a few more echoes.
Here are the Dominions, crown enemies. These are called Furies. Heavily shielded, as you can see. Genuinely problematic a lot of the times, but not for the combo build. Not for the combo build at all. Not today, my good friend, not today.
Map is clear. Monitor's next.
Not to sound too proud, but it's almost a shame that this build is as effective as it is, and that we have, of course, our little buddies over here. Did not nearly get to show the threat that those Furies could be. Just chungused on them a little too hard, it would seem. Here, though, not a lot of trash enemies. This is pretty much just solo boss. And here's where we get to see the build both shine and struggle. You'll see that I'm able to keep the attention on me fairly effectively. I'm a good tank in that respect. Make them all focus on me. However,
No, he's
not a lot of opportunities for me
made it all this way. I'm not giving
to
up now.
refill my combo. Here we go. Give him a bop. Oh. Give him a yell. Bop.
Freelancer is calling down meteors.
Bop. Just a casual 63,000 damage. Start the combos all over again. Bop. Hey, pay attention to me. Another. $173 combo. Start the shock all over again. Combo. Let's go. Bop. And there we go. Start to clear out the meteors.
He's activated again. Find the freelancer.
Are we gonna make it? Oh, nope, we did not. Unlucky.
Heather. Faye, he's changing the storm. It's his connection to the cenotaph. Oh, my Jav can withstand this acid stuff.
Very big fan of the flying in this game. Flying in combat to me is extremely satisfying. I've always enjoyed it. It's one of the reasons why I started playing the game, though I did not play during launch. Hence part of the reason why I love the game. I didn't start playing until 2 years afterwards nearly. So I missed all the hubbub and all the reasons that people could play. And start the cycle. Start freezing and everything else. Get our ultimate out. That way we can just use our combos to refill everything. No reason to keep it. Might as well just get that sweet damage in. He will occasionally move. Very rude of him when he does. Just keep shocking. Blasting. And we've already got him down to the next phase. Got a problem with bad guys? No issues at all. Just run through them, as one does. Put down a little shock field, give him a boop. Good to go. Ultimate's about to half.
He doesn't have full control. The cenotaph.
And once again, just blasting through all these little enemies. Ultimate beaters nearly back up to full all over again. Which means as soon as we get back to the monitor a second time, we're able to drop in, get our first round of combos off, launch our ultimate, do it all over again. Again, you're seeing that when I'm hitting these combos, I'm doing about 173,000 combo damage per run. That's extremely high for a Colossus. Normally you would see numbers like that in sort of a mid-level ranger whose specialty is the combo damage. Alright, you can pay attention to me now, my guy. And then we pull out the ultimate. Give him 1. Give him 2. Give him 3. Give him 1. Just keep up the pressure. Cycling, and there we go.
This silence. Are you okay, Faye? Yes. Thanks to you.
Very satisfying gameplay loop. I very much enjoy this particular class. The Chungus Among Us, the Colossus javelin.